my baby, my Valentine, yeah. Boy, now you done making my temperature dead rise. If you leave me, I go die, I swear. You are like the...
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's talk about Judge Ratta's final response on the entire situation, and what the defense lawyers had to say, and all including the state. Now, Judge Ratta, instead of accepting what Mshololo and Mnisi said, do you know what he did? What he does always. He shifted the blame to the defense. He blamed them for everything that went wrong when it comes to the situation of Jonas being asked to recuse himself. That's what he did there. I promise you, that is exactly what he did. Now, the entire situation became frustrating, and honestly, it was not unreasonable to see it as frustrating, because what the hell was that? Honestly, what the hell was that? Now, let's separate three things carefully here. Judicial authority, courtroom management style, and fair trial rights under Section 35 of the Constitution of South Africa. That's where my real analysis is going to come from, especially when it comes to, Judge Ratta Mogoateng. Now, first of all, my core point is, yes, the judge appears to shut down counsel like Advocate Mshololo mid-submission, because he doesn't care what Mshololo is saying, especially on something as serious as interpretation and fairness. It raises eyebrows, because in any adversary system, both sides must be heard, not just formally, but meaningfully, which meaningfully was not there. Not just formally, but meaningfully. If the defense is saying this affects the accused's ability to understand proceeding, that's not a side issue, that's central to a fair trial. Now, here is where I'm going to push back slightly. Judge Ratta Mogoateng does have the power to control proceedings, right? Now, he also has the power to limit repetitive arguments and even cut counsel off in a professional manner. Do you understand? In a professional manner. That's what is, if he believes the point has been made, but he needs to do that professionally, right? Now, that is not automatically misconduct. Court would collapse if judge let every submission run indefinitely. But now the power is one thing. How he is exercising that is very important. How he does that is very, very important, because now the problem is the how when it comes to him. Now, what I am reacting to is less about legality, or more about judicial temperament. Do you see? Changing focus mid-argument, appearing to assign blame prematurely, now not allowing full response, walking out without resolving the tension, is one of the speciality of Judge Ratta Mogoateng. He specializes in that. Now, those things don't necessarily make a ruling unlawful, but they can create a perception of bias or impatience, which Judge Ratta is a very impatient person, which is also dangerous in a case already under microscope. Now, if the judge initially said that there is no law supporting the accused, and then returns after consultation where Section 35 clearly protects the accused's rights to understand proceedings, that creates contradiction on judge's side. And judges, being human, don't always react well to being corrected, especially publicly and indirectly. That could explain the shift in his tone, the defensiveness, the attempt to redirect blame towards the defense. But legally, the reality is, even if the defense handled the issue imperfectly, raising things in an open court instead of chambers, that does not cancel the accused's rights, whether Judge Ratta likes that or not. That is the key principle. Procedural missteps by lawyers do not override constitutional protections of the accused. Never. They never do that. So for me, Judge Ratta, it felt like he's making two wrongs don't. He's making two wrongs make it right. But the situation is two wrongs don't make it right. Now, Judge Ratta, the judge may be correct about process, Now, the issue should have been raised. The defense may be correct about substance, fair trial concerns. And when the judge focuses too heavily on process with the defense, while the defense is raising constitutional substance, it can feel like the real issue is being avoided. Now, how can he blame the defense when the accused are the ones on the trial? That's actually very important distinction, because the accused hold the rights, not the lawyers. The defense asserts those rights. Why is Judge Ratta making this about the defense lawyers? So if the accused say they don't trust the interpretation, the court must take that seriously, even if the lawyers are the ones speaking. Now, dismissing that consent too quickly is risky, because it touches directly on trial fairness, and that's appeal territory. Also, I feel like something is off, but I wouldn't jump straight to the judge is doing something wrong. Okay, a more precise way perhaps is he is within his authority, but his approach is escalating tension instead of resolving it. And in a case like this, perception of fairness is almost as important as fairness itself. So uJudge Ratta nje is just that talk. Do you understand? So I don't know about you guys. What are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Do you think uJudge Ratta will ever learn to listen, to understand, and also do what is required of him thoroughly, instead of always blaming other people and leaving him as the one that is being wronged in the situation? Now, the defense is the one that is wrong, who agreement. Yeah, he is right, and everybody is wrong against the interpreter, but not him. I think because of experience of us watching cases, in the Jocelyn case, we saw the judge, when the interpretation is not going well, it was an Afrikaans and English interpretation, the judge will correct the interpreter. We saw that. And the interpreter was excused and another one was brought in. No fights, nothing. Why is it a fuss here for uJudge Ratta? We also saw at Madlanga Commission, interpreters were excused and other ones were brought in. No fuss, nothing. We saw it at the Nkabinde inquiry. Was it the Nkabinde? I'm not sure. We saw it at Brakpan Court. Like there's a lot of courts whereby accused people were like, can I get a proper interpreter, please? It happens all the time. He never had a problem. There was a time Mr. Ngcobo was requested to repeat himself, and Mr. Ngcobo never came again there, because it was the right of the accused. What is the issue now? Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Goodbye.
This is how Mr. Ramasipidi, Mr. Mnisi, Mr. Nxumalo, and yourself should have acted. You are officers of the court.
Yes,
I saw you going up there and consulting your clients. And then you came back and Mr. Nxumalo, Mr. Mnisi makes an announcement that I'm a bearer of bad news.
No, I didn't say bad news, Mother. I said.
What did you say? I'm a bearer
Of news that are not so comfortable.
That's it, fine, okay, yeah. And then it just struck me, what? Actually, I thought somebody has a heart attack there.
Okay.
Because all of you went down. So I thought, maybe somebody's had a heart attack. Or somebody there has had news that a mother or a father or a child or what have you has died. Then I'm hit with this bomb that...
My apologies, my lord.
Yeah, wait.
On our behalf.
Oh, wait. That is the reality.
Yes.
Now, a decision has been taken by you, even as officers of the court, that you align yourself with the sentiments of your clients. There's nothing I can do, and I'm sorry. I hope this will be a lesson for us as we grow and become older in our perspectives. But unfortunately, it has been done. And you know, Mr. Jonas has his dignity. He has his dignity. And that must be preserved. That's why I wanted him to tell us his experience. He's got a wife, he's got children, he's got friends, he's got colleagues. He is a leader in this court, Mr. Jonas. That's what's said about this case. Okay. General, are you available Monday?
Yes, my lord. I'm available.
Okay, so we're done until Monday. Okay.
Oxygen I need to survive.